see him. So just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so you might not be able to see my face during some parts of this video, but I mostly want you to see Ziggy. So this is Ziggy. He is my 6-year-old Hungarian bully. Hungarian bully. Hungarian bully. Can you see the camera? Yeah. Oh. He's my beautiful boy. Oh, punching. You're punching the microphone. He just wants to hold hands. Okay. I'm gonna give him a few pieces of ham. I think that's what he's wanting. He's being a little impatient. So just a second. So, I'm mostly going to be looking at Ziggy. Sorry in advance. So, Ziggy has kind of an interesting story. So he ended up being our little pandemic puppy, our pandemic mummy, which we clearly didn't plan on. It was like, I think we picked him up actually on Valentine's Day of 2020, and then the world basically shut down like 2 weeks later. So why did we get a bully? That's probably the most common question. My husband is very allergic to pets, so we were researching what pet we could get that wouldn't bother his allergies. So we were basically between a Hungarian bully or a Portuguese water dog. And we went with the Hungarian bully. Long story short, my husband had dreadlocks like at the end of college before he had to become a professional person. And so he already knew how to take care of all the dreads. And so he felt well equipped. And we thought a Hungarian bully was just so cool. And we'd never really seen any like out in public, out in the wild before. So we thought we would give it a try. So then we started looking for breeders. And we found a breeder because my husband, they come in white, black, or gray colors. I didn't really care, I just wanted a dog. My husband specifically wanted a white bully. So we found a breeder in Detroit. And so on Valentine's Day of 2020, we flew to Detroit and we met this breeder. And it was it's a long story, so I hope we have time. It was very rushed. Here, I'm gonna zoom in on Ziggy a little bit more so you can see him while I tell the story. Okay, so as I was saying, we found this breeder, and it was the weirdest puppy handoff. Like, granted, these dogs were not cheap because he's a purebred Hungarian bully. So I was talking to the breeder for like weeks and weeks and weeks beforehand, and we get to the airport, and she literally just like hands him out like she is driving through like the passenger pickup area of the Detroit airport, and she just like rolls down her window and hands me this puppy out the window, which was Ziggy. And I don't know, what was I gonna do? Like, she didn't really give me anything else to go with him. Luckily we had like a dog carrier and everything, and we hung out with Ziggy in the Detroit airport for the day, and he had to go through dog TSA. But so then we get him on the airplane and we get him home, and we take him to the vet. We take him to our vet for his 8-week puppy check. And downstairs. Okay. I know. And the vet immediately is like, well, he has grade 3 and 4 luxating patellas on his back legs. And I'd never heard of a luxating patella in my entire lifetime. But apparently it means that his doggy kneecap basically was like flopping in and out of place while he was walking and sitting. And so she said that he would likely need to have 2 knee surgeries. And so I called the breeder after we got home, and she was so ridiculous. I won't say the name of the breeder, but if you're interested in buying a Puli, and you want to know the name of a breeder to not buy from, you can message me privately and I'll happily share that. Anyway, so I called the breeder and I basically told her what they said and how much it would cost us to fix. And she basically said, because let me back up. If you don't get them fixed, if they're like grade 3 or grade 4, then eventually they just won't be able to walk anymore. And so the breeder basically was like, oh man, well, sorry about that. And it's usually genetic, I should say that as well. So I said, well, I think you're breeding like dogs that have a genetic predisposition to luxating patellas, which, is incredibly expensive and also just not fair to the puppies, right? And she basically was just like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but you could, like, I'm not going to give you any money to pay for the surgeries, but you can give me the dog back. And I was just so taken aback because, like, I mean, we'd only had him for like a few days, but like, he's our family dog. And she's like, I'll just keep him until he can't walk anymore. And the vet said he probably wouldn't be able to walk by around age 2. And she's like, then, I'll just put him down. And I was like, oh my god, that's terrible. So we obviously were keeping him because he's so stinking cute. He won our hearts over pretty quickly. So yeah, we basically put him into puppy physical therapy. So where we live is like a very, I don't know, it's a very, I'll just say affluent area. And so why wouldn't we have dog physical therapists? So we started doing like water treadmill training and like doggy massage, and like we would take him in. I mean, these also are not cheap dog physical therapy sessions. And he didn't qualify for pet insurance because he was born with a pre-existing condition. So anyway, he's over here getting a hot stone massage. Anyway, so we tried that to like strengthen his legs, because the vets basically were like, oh, if you strengthen up his legs, then maybe he won't need to have the surgeries. Like, if you can strengthen like his little doggy quads and his hamstrings, and they can hold his patella in place, then potentially he might not need to have both surgeries, right? So we're like, okay, well, it's worth a shot anyway, because the PT was cheaper than the surgeries would be. So we did that for a while, like a year. And then our vet also simultaneously was like, the whole like, don't get your dog fixed until they're like, was it like 8, I can't remember if it was like a year or 18 months or 2 years. There's some like statistic that if you get dogs fixed early, it like increases their chances of certain cancers and like bone issues later in life, like osteoporosis or something like that. So we didn't get him fixed to see if that would also help. And then, we like socialized him and everything. He was part of like a puppy play group, but then one dog kept like rolling him, like a big dog would just roll him over, even though we would intervene at the dog play group. And he started developing like this dog aversion. So he's got like big man syndrome now, smaller or smaller. So he literally cannot be around bigger dogs because he gets very defensive because he thinks they're gonna roll him over, and he didn't like that. So anyway, that was that. And so then we started noticing the kind of like the telltale symptom, I guess, of a luxating patella in dogs is that they start limping, because like basically they go to take a step forward and their little doggy kneecap is out of place, like it's popped out of place. So then their knee is basically like locked. It can't like bend to take a step forward. So he would just be hopping on his back feet. And he kept doing that a lot. So then we found an orthopedic surgeon, I think it was Colorado Orthopedics or something, down in Colorado Springs, and they were amazing. So we took him down, and they said, yeah, it's just gonna keep getting worse, so he's gonna get lame pretty soon. And I think he was like 1.5 at this point. So they said, well, let's do one side. I guess in smaller dogs they'll do both sides at the same time, but since he's like 45 pounds, they just wanted to do one side at a time. So we did the one side, and yeah, the recovery is long. It's like 3 to 6 months at least. So he got basically like a bunch of metal put into his right leg to hold his kneecap in place, and they also like deepened the groove in his knee, so he literally had doggy full knee surgery. And so then we got him through the recovery of that one, and I think it was at that same time. I don't know, we're gluttons for punishment. We were also in the process of getting married, so planning our wedding. So that was also like 6 months before our wedding, and we also had just bought this house, and we were like renovating the full house, so we moved out of the house. And yeah, we moved out of the house and we lived in an Airbnb, and then we had to move to a hotel because it took such a long time to renovate all while Ziggy was having surgery. So we just kind of made the most of it. But he did a great job, and he recovered well from that one. And then again, we did the doggy physical therapy. And then the next year, his left side, which was almost kind of his worst side, had to be done, but we waited to do that because it was, for some reason, I can't remember why, it was more of like an involved surgery, and the surgeons were a little bit more nervous about it. So we took him, and we did that one too. But we did one surgery, and then it actually ended up somehow getting like infected. I'm not sure how, because we did the whole like bandage situation and kept him very clean, but obviously you can tell he has a lot of hair. So I don't know if something was just like on his hair and then got into his incision. But anyway, neither here nor there. He ended up having to go basically have that surgery revised because it got infected, and then he had to be on antibiotics for a while. So anyway, and then again we had to do all the doggy physical therapy to re-strengthen everything again, but now he's all good. The only thing now is that he will always have to be on like certain supplements, like joint supplements, and he still is on like a daily doggy ibuprofen. Otherwise he has like a tiny limp. Whoa, jeez, our house is falling down. Otherwise he has a tiny limp. So anyway, yeah, but other than that, he's been very good. And he's a healthy boy. But yeah, so let's see what else. I get so many questions asking how we do his hair. So, basically, when he was a puppy, he looked like a golden doodle. And then around 1, he looked like a golden doodle that had been electrocuted. Like his hair was just like really big. not sure if you can see, but basically all his dreads, like kind of more towards his skin, they kind of like mat together just a little bit. So you just separate them, and he doesn't mind it, and it doesn't hurt him. Down to his skin. Otherwise, it would all be like stuck together, like kind of like a platypus tail. So basically, you just have to come through and keep him separated. This discoloration around his chest and mouth is just from eating dog food. He eats the farmer's dog, and he loves it. He was on so many different kinds of dry kibble before that, and he literally refused to eat it. He's kind of a diva. So anyway, he loves his farmer's dog, but he gets it all over his chest. So he does go to the groomer every 6 weeks, and they give him a nice deep cleaning, and they put him in like a big doggy bathtub, hot tub, and just soak him, and then they shampoo him, where they basically put the shampoo in, and then they like wring it like this out, so that it like goes really deep into his dreads and actually cleans his hair. So it takes like 5 hours to give him a bath. I used to do that when he was a puppy, right? When you were a puppy. But now it hurts my back because we don't have one of those like standing dog bathtubs. So anyway, he goes to the groomer, and then they have a special kennel that they put him in that like has fans on all sides, and he's gonna stay in there for a few more hours to fully dry off. Otherwise, he's gotta come home and he's gotta like sit by the fan, and it takes him at least 24 hours to dry off. And then sometimes there's like a little smell to it. So we're having the groomer just dry him now, so that we don't get any like mildewy bits. But yeah, and then of course when he comes home from the groomer, just like with this hot stone massage, he's like, "Oh, I am exhausted. Had a very hard day of being pampered." Right? He's such a baby. So that's our Poolie. We call him our little Poolie puppy, or Pooler Wooler, or Ziggy Man, Ziggs. And he's a very good dog. He's just, our only complaint is that he barks a lot. We have a hiking trail that goes behind our house, and he tells every single person that walks by that they better just keep moving, and their dogs. So anyway, he has a very busy day of defending the house, apparently. And yeah, otherwise he's got a very good life. Yep. So that's the story of our Poolie Woolie. So if you have any questions about him, you can let me know. I don't know. I was gonna do some mic brushing with his hair,